Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a leader of one of the most amazing nonprofits I've ever heard of. He's going to talk about the difference they're making in the lives of veterans. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, as you hear in the news every day, we're having a mental health pandemic. It's affecting people from all walks of life, but our veterans, our nation's heroes, are especially hard hit. To talk about that today, Andy Riise, he's one of the leaders with Team Red, White, and Blue. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for your service, because I know you served our country. Let's start with, what is Team Red, White, and Blue?
Yes, sir. So Team Red, White, and Blue is a nonprofit, and our mission is to forge America's leading health and wellness community for our veterans.
And you are in the middle of a great journey right now. Tell us about Old Glory Relay.
Yes, sir. So Old Glory Relay is our national fundraising event. It's our biggest fundraiser in Team RWB. And every year we move a single American flag. This flag actually flew in Operation Inherent Resolve in Iraq several years ago. And it moves sunrise and sunset from Seattle all the way to Atlanta. So over 50 days and 4,000 miles across 9 states, we have volunteer members who are riding their bikes, they're running, they're walking, any means necessary. We even had a motorbike and somebody on horseback move the flag. And our amazing members that we call Eagles are demonstrating their Eagle Fire today here in Dallas and the Metroplex. We started today in Weatherford, and we're moving the flag to the Bush Center this afternoon for day 35, and we'll continue this journey through the rest of Texas and on to Atlanta on May 20, which will come out during the Braves game versus the Seattle Mariners.
Wow. We're going to talk about Andy's backstory in a minute, but let's watch this overview video.
There's an immeasurable bond that forms when you join the service. You'll do anything to protect and defend those at your side, and pushing the limits of your well-being is all just part of the job. But when this shared experience ends, it's easy to carry that mission-first mindset with you and neglect your own health and mental fitness. Team Red, White, and Blue understands these challenges and knows that together we can show veterans that their best days are ahead by providing opportunities to build healthier lifestyles right where they live and work. Through races, service projects, workouts, and a cutting-edge mobile app, our members develop a sense of camaraderie and mutual support. With a growing force of over 200,000 strong, we invite all veterans, families, and non-military supporters to start putting their well-being first. Team Red, White, and Blue is forging America's leading health and wellness community. Will you join the team?
Wow, such a cool mission and ministry. I'm dying to know your backstory.
Yes, sir. So I'm a retired Army officer. I'm originally from California. Don't hold that against me. I got here to Texas as fast as I could. But I spent 20 years as an Army officer, as a field artillery officer. I'm a West Point grad. I played football there. And I spent my entire career at war, leading men and women in combat in various leadership positions. And that's highlighted by multiple combat deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. I taught psychology and leadership at West Point. And I was really on the epicenter of health and wellness programming within the U.S. military. And that led me to where I am today. I spent 2 years in Major League Baseball when I retired 2 years ago. My wife and 4 kids and I live in Montgomery, Texas, just down the road in 45. But I really felt compelled to continue to serve and give back, specifically to help with the health and wellness journey of our veterans, because I believe, just like Team RWB believes, that our best days are ahead of us.
Yeah, and I know famously 22, I hear now that number might even be higher.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so a lot of people hear about this 22 Veterans a Day committing suicide, which is way above the national average, right? But the reality is, Jeff, is that our veterans are some of the most resilient, gritty, and mentally tough people that there are. And we've been through a lot, right? And so our determination, our commitment, our courage and the things that we bring in terms of our willingness to do hard things physically, to come together as a community, to continue to serve and lead our communities are incredibly important. And we want to continue to create this community and curate that community so veterans can continue to be able to take steps forward and be the best version of themselves, but also to show up for their families, to show up for their companies, and continue to be able to lead and serve in meaningful ways.
Sure. We've got some video, and I want you to kind of narrate it. So this journey begins when? This latest one? The relay began what day?
Began in Seattle, and that was 35 days ago.
Wow, that's incredible. And where does it end again?
It ends in Atlanta. And so it'll end up at the Braves Stadium, and it'll be showcased at the beginning of the Major League Baseball game, which will be nationally televised. The American flag will come out for the national anthem, and it's versus the Seattle Mariners. So be sure to tune in and check that out.
You've been involved in it for a long time. What's the most emotional thing that you have seen from one of your relays?
Yeah, we've been doing this for 9 years, and this is my first one. So this is my first time on the trail. And on paper, it looks like a really cool event. You look at the website, but when you get down on the ground and you get to hear the amazing Eagle leaders' stories, and if I can, I'd like to tell a couple of those stories if I can too. So we had a 20-year Air Force veteran who came down from Edmond, Oklahoma to participate in our leg that we had from Abilene all the way here to Dallas. And so 20 years in the military with her husband, 20 years in a telecommunications business, and her best friend, she loses to cancer just a few years ago. And she was besides herself, and she's in Oklahoma, doesn't have a community. So she joins Team RWB to really find the extension of her family, to find herself again. And she finds running and a passion for running. And one marathon turns into running 50 marathons in 50 states.
That's
and
incredible.
Here she was, and you should see her, and she was out there. We call her, she was hammering down on the roads, in the back roads of Highway 180 between Abilene and Albany, Texas. And that's just a small example of our amazing Eagle leaders who curate these communities for us, like here in Dallas-Fort Worth, but also are participating in making a difference for their other fellow veterans, because veterans helping veterans is really the best way to really help us develop our mental strength and our physical ability and conditioning.
You mentioned a couple stories. You got another one?
I have another great one too. This is an awesome one. You'd really appreciate this, and there's nothing quite like Americana, like rural Texas, right? And you've seen the dichotomy between places like Abilene and Dallas and Fort Worth is really interesting in multiple days. But this was really great. You have a gentleman who's out mowing his property, in the middle of this lonely stretch of Highway 180 between Abilene and Albany, and the flag's moving with 3 riders on bicycles. And I have a lead vehicle because we're a support vehicle, and we have our marketing guy, he's a photographer, and he says, Andy, slow down. And I stop and I look. The gentleman who's riding his lawnmower, who clearly is a veteran, stops, gets off his lawnmower and renders a perfect hand salute until the flag passes by.
Wow.
And then gets back on his lawnmower and goes about his business, right? I mean, if that isn't Americana, I don't know what is. And just everybody was so welcoming to us, to everybody from the American Legion to VFWs from Seattle all the way to Atlanta had just been so welcoming to us. And it just really reinvigorates your hope for our future as a country, right? We've been through a lot of hard things. Challenge, change, and adversity is inevitable, but growth is optional. That's a daily choice.
Yes.
And we're better when we make that choice together.
And I urge everybody to follow them on social media, because they're always posting and they create these great videos. We found a highlight reel from last year. Let's roll it.
Sherry, the flag is flying high tonight ahead of the opening ceremony, and it's made quite the journey to get here.
The Old Glory Relay, it's a really neat thing. They're taking an American flag from Washington, D.C. to Birmingham, Alabama.
Veterans and supporters carried the flag 3,100 miles and passed through 15 states.
And this journey has been walking and running and rucking and cycling and pushing and a little bit of everything.
Team RWB focuses on enriching veterans' lives, and the Old Glory Relay is our opportunity to display and tell veterans that their best days are ahead, with a strong focus on health and wellness.
It's not just to show the grit, the strength, and the commitment of American veterans, but also to show our great nation that we can come together and achieve anything.
Just a beautiful morning in Tuscaloosa, kicking off the final leg of the flag relay for the World Games. It's going to be exciting to see that flag taken into the stadium tomorrow night.
Team Red, White, and Blue just reminded the world that life is a team sport. I am so incredibly proud of the grit and the perseverance that Team Red, White, and Blue members have shown through the heat in the hills, the wind, the humidity, the long days. Over the past 45 days, moving this flag that Noah just carried into the stadium safely to help kick off the World Games. Let's go!
Andy, you have to be so proud when you go back and look at some of this stuff. What does it make you feel?
Yes, sir. Just I have a servant's heart and just overwhelmed with gratitude. That's what I feel, because seeing the people that are making this organization great and helping other veterans is really infectious, and it's a movement. We're kind of in this post-pandemic hangover a little bit, and people aren't coming out the way that they used to, and we have developed some habits that may not be the best thing for them mentally and physically, and we're trying to really shift that paradigm and create a place where anybody of any ability level, any age group can come out. We have 8 activity groups. We have something for everybody, folks. So please show up and show out.
And I really applaud you, because I think our country has become so polarized, Republicans versus Democrats, but this is something everybody can get around, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We think that one thing we have in common, we live in a country where we all celebrate our veterans, right? And whether that's deserved or not isn't for me to say, but I feel grateful to be a part of a noble profession. And I'm so thankful for not just the veterans who are part of our organization, but we're unique in the fact that we have many veteran supporters, the military spouses, the kids kind of like that I have, or people who just love veterans and want to help us succeed and contribute to our communities. That's the fabric of our country. It makes us strong and helps us move forward, just like the American flag and Old Glory moving across the country.
I love it. You're so well spoken. So I know a lot of people watching this want to get involved. How can they get involved?
Yes, sir. So really 3 ways, right? So this is your call to action, folks. So number 1, go to our website or download our mobile app, or we also have a web-based app. Sign up and find your local chapter. Once you find your local chapter, step 2 is then show up. And step 3 is bring a friend.
I love that. Thank you so much for your mission and your ministry. I wish you nothing but the best. We're going to end with the website, which is teamrwb.org. Andy, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.